Welcome to the Claim Your Day podcast. Here, it's all about taking full advantage of the time we have today and becoming intentional with our actions so we each can have the impact we want. If you want to stop drifting through life and start directing your life, and you're open to a short podcast from someone who's working at the exact same thing, then welcome. You're in the right place, my friend. Hi, I'm your host, Nick Mazey. To respect your time and so you can claim your day, let's dive right in. Hello, my friend, and welcome. Welcome to the Claim Your Day podcast. Glad you're here and joining in today. Today is the episode 25, the Claim Your Day podcast, and I get a kick out of it. I love telling you which episode we're on. Now, if you weren't joining me for the last podcast I was on, I did probably about 5 or 6 years, somewhere north of 400 episodes. But without going to a whole big life story, there's some things that I kind of took a hiatus and focused on some other stuff. Good choices, learning experiences all throughout. But now, back down to the 25 episodes. So I got to keep trucking along to make sure that you have enough resources and information and all the things that I can share with you that I'm learning and implementing in my life. I learned from some of my mentors. That's what I do here so that you can have it and take what works for you, so that you can claim your day, live with intentionality, live according to your values, and to guide your life to go where you want it to go. So we're 25 episodes in, and we're going to keep trucking along, so I'm glad that you're here, thrilled that you're here. But, hey, actually learning from that experience of taking that hiatus and focusing on some other areas outside of podcast, what I learned from that, well, that whole experience of doing that directly relates to what we're about to talk about today. Because today we're talking about learning from today. Learning from today. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Now don't laugh too much. If you respond with "duh," "yeah," "of course," what are you talking about? Then I get it, and those are perfectly great. I would say natural, almost responses to what I'm about to ask you. Okay, because if you're a busy parent, a busy professional, if you're trying to balance work, life, family, your values, all that good stuff, then the answer is going to be obvious. And the question is, are you ever rushing through your day? Are you ever scrambling around just kind of in busy mode, putting out fires, trying to keep up with everything? And maybe at the end of the day, just a little exhausted. At the end of the day, it just feels nice to sit down and to stop for a second. Or, even just you've been going so much that you just have to unwind on the couch before your brain can even stop long enough to be able to go to sleep. Are you just rushing through your day trying to keep up with everything? Well, if your answer was duh, obviously, yeah. Well, then kind of you're who I'm speaking to, because this podcast is for you. But also, there's another side to that if we're just rushing, go, don't stop at all, then there's one thing that you might not be doing. You might not be doing because it's hard. It's hard to make yourself do this thing. But if we're talking about learning from the day, if we're talking about really becoming our best and to guide our lives to go where we want them to go, then we have to learn from our experience. We have to learn from experience. And if we're just rushing through the days and getting all the things done, yes, getting the things done and being productive, it's great, it's important, it's necessary to get the things done you need to get done, 100%. The same time, if all we're doing is that, then we're missing the opportunity to learn from life. Then we're missing the opportunity to improve. We all think, a lot of experience is a great thing, and that's how we get better, right? And there's a saying, about experience being the best teacher. Well, John Maxwell has a great point related to this. He has great points related to a lot of things. But one of the things that John Maxwell talks about when he talks about experience, if it's the best teacher, it is so true. It is so true. And it's that experience is not the best teacher. Evaluated experience is. Evaluated experience is what really is the best teacher. Because think about it. If you have a really great learning opportunity, throughout the day, pretty much meaning that you screwed up, you messed up, things didn't go according to plan, but you don't evaluate that and you don't learn from that, well, then you're not going to make any improvements. I don't know if you have any employees or any direct reports, and then it seems like they make the same mistake over and over and over again. Or it's like, they try to do something, complete a task at work, and it doesn't work out. And then you check in with them later and they didn't take the time to actually learn from that. You know how frustrating that is? Well, the same thing could be happening for you in your life, is that if you're rushing through and doing everything and you're not taking the time to just pause and reflect just a little bit, not spending like 2 hours a day doing this, but if you're not reflecting just a little bit, then those growth opportunities, that learning, it might not be happening. Because a little bit of daily reflection, I say just a little bit, because we're all busy. If you have plenty of extra time that you don't know what to do with, then this podcast might not be for you. If you're really just busy trying to balance, work, life, family, and trying your best to live according to your values and make your days count, and it's tough to do it all, then this podcast is for you. And even though it's tough to do it all, I want you to, here we're going to talk a little bit about the value of taking just a few minutes, maybe at the end of the day, but just a few minutes to evaluate your experiences so that you can grow, learn, and improve and get better in the areas of life that are most important to you. And so kind of the three main points for today, and I don't like beating around the bush too much, so I'm just going to give you them right up front, and we'll dive in a little bit more. Well, the first point is that there's value in pausing. There's value in pausing, and that's just creating a little bit of space, for some learning. You're going throughout your day. Some things go well, some things not so much. Some things are kind of, maybe, a little hunky-dory. It's okay. But when you pause for a little bit, and I say just a little bit, and just think back on what happened, the things that went well, not so well, and the things that were just simply okay, you might be able to learn a little bit from those experiences. And that way, when they come up again or you have to make a similar decision, you're going to be 1,000 times better. Or maybe you're just 1% better. But that 1% compounded over time and a little bit better and a little bit better, that's where you make those massive, massive improvements over time. It's those small steps for improvement and learning. So that's kind of point number one, is that there is value in just pausing just for a minute to think about what happened throughout that day. The second point is that when I'm talking about learning and reflecting on the day, it does not have to be huge as far as time, and it also doesn't have to be huge as far as being real complicated. It doesn't at all. Some of the journals that I've used, they make it so simple, and it is just what went well. What went well? You can just ask yourself, what went well today? Or what could have been better? What could have been better? What did I learn? What did I learn? These are not complicated questions. And you're not going to have you might not. Most likely you won't. Have paragraphs and paragraphs to write and have to journal for hours. Now, if that's you, that's your cup of tea, that's what resonates with you, good, go for it. But for some people like me, where that's not my style. That's not my natural inclination. But what is that I can be very brief and just answer, hey, what went well? What could have gone better? What did I learn? Your reflection to gain some learning and to evaluate that experience so you really can grow and improve. It does not have to be a whole lot. Some is better than none, and those small steps will take you further than trying to make large leaps all the time. So, there's value in pausing. There's some simple reflection prompts that you can use to be able to make this time count. And that the third point is that when you turn your daily experiences into wisdom and learning, that, my friend, is going to take you a far way. That's going to take you some great distances. That's going to lead to the changes and improvements that you want. For a whole lot of reasons. Some of them are just that it's personal. It's personal to you. Somebody may have gone through a similar experience, but the way they evaluated it could be wildly different. So when you're taking your own experiences and you're gaining a little bit of wisdom out of it by reflecting, then those lessons are going to be personal to you. And they're going to resonate with you deeper because you came up with them and not just, some guy on a podcast telling you how to live. That's not what this is for, and I don't think that's really as helpful as encouraging you to spend a few moments and reflect on that day and get some of that value out of pausing and learning so that you can grow and improve in the ways of your life that are most important to you. See this, and this is a great thing that's so it's just natural to connect it to your values. With a little bit of self-awareness and growth, see, you're able to take that experience through the day with a little bit of evaluation, just, hey, what went well, what didn't? And when you reflect on that, so you're putting it through the lens of your values, what's most important to you, your life, your family, your goals, the life you want to live. That's where you're seeing it from. And so if things didn't go as according to plan or things went sideways a little bit, what you're doing is when you're thinking about that, you're naturally going to say, okay, well, how would I have wanted it to turn out? How would I have wanted this outcome, to look, or this experience to go, or whatever the goal was, or whatever your ideal would be, is how would I have wanted that to happen? Well, naturally, right then in that moment, when you're looking at it, you're seeing, hey, how could I make this a little bit better? For your values, for your goals, for your dreams, what's most important to you. That's where it's going to help you to be more intentional, to make the most of your days, because you're taking your experiences throughout the day and you're finding out how you can do them a little bit better the next day, and then a little bit better the next day. And that's where that massive change, that massive growth happens. It's in those small adjustments that you make. So here's a simple, actionable step that you can do. And you can do this. You can do this. I want you to think about, and if you're good with it, go ahead and commit to taking 5 minutes, just 5 minutes at the end of the day today, and reflect on how your day went. All right. Now, if you're really pressed for time, you can answer just one question. You can answer one question. If you're really going to go big, then answer all three. But if the only thing that you can answer, or that you'll answer, the only thing that you'll commit to is just one, no problem. Start there and you can go from there. The first one I want you to answer is, what's one thing you learned today? What's one thing you learned today? And I'm going to go ahead and let you know, I've said this in other episodes, I'm going to let you know the best way to do this is to write, is to write it out. You got to write it out. When you write it out, it causes like multiple parts of your brain to engage. It actually helps you to refine and kind of think through it a little bit more. There's so much power in the writing. Now, you don't got to write a 10-page, essay on what you learned for the day, but just write out, even if it's just one statement. Just write it out. What's one thing you learned today? Now, if you want to go big, you can answer all three. It's still not huge. It's still simple. You can do it. You could probably knock all three questions out in 5 minutes. And that would be, what did you learn today? What went well, and what could be better? What did you learn today? What went well, and what could be better? What you could have done better? What could have gone better? However it makes the most sense for you. But answer those three questions. What did you learn? What went well? And what could be better? It's simple. It's only going to take you a few minutes. But in those few moments of reflection, it's going to turn your experiences of the day into growth and improvement. And it's going to be far more impactful than someone just telling you what you should have done better, because you're going to see it yourself, and it's going to be your own self-reflection. I want to encourage you to make those brief moments of reflection a daily habit. Turn your experiences into evaluated experiences so you can grow, improve, and really to live the life that you want to live. So go ahead and commit and schedule a few minutes for reflection tonight. Preferably at the end of the day, that way if you had your experiences in, you can look back and you can say, hey, I got 5 minutes. What did I learn? What went well? And what could be better? Go ahead and commit to that. Even set a reminder on your phone. Write yourself a sticky note, put it next to your bed. Whatever you got to do to make sure that you do it tonight. That way you can get the benefit from doing this. Sound good, my friend? Well, that's it for today's episode. Thank you for joining in. I really want you to take some action and claim your day. Make the most of it. These are the days that as you have, you're not going to get today back. And that's a great thing, because you can make it count. And the best way, or John Maxwell's words, the only way to make sure that tomorrow is better than today is by growing today. And a little bit of self-reflection at the end of the day, some learning and some self-reflection is going to help you to grow and improve in the areas of life that are most important to you. you've made it to the end of this episode, so you must have gotten something out of it. You probably won't have stuck around. So rate and review this podcast. If you rate and review it, or you can just throw a rating on it, it'll help other people find it across the billion other podcasts that there are out there. And it's going to help someone find it, maybe get some value out of it too. Or you can just share it with them directly if that's more your cup of tea. That works out great too. I do appreciate you joining in and participating in this. Make sure you take some action. And as always, there's some resources at nickmazy.com, help you with setting your intentional day and some other things there. Check it out. Love to talk to you in the next episode. So make sure you join in. All right. Take care.